G'day folks, Ronnie Dale, Four Wheeling Australia. Welcome to Four Wheeling Studios, right here, right now. A bit separate video, I'll give you a bit of a tour on the whole place because most of my audience haven't seen this yet, which is quite exciting. Now this video is called Escape the Coronavirus. Now what is all this about? Well, I've got some handy tips and a bit of a discussion and my views on things on how to actually get you guys still out there camping during this crisis, because it's going to be good for your mental health and it's going to give you a bit of a break from the media. But before we get to that, I just wanted to have a chat to you guys, because I see a lot of people freaking out on social media, on the news, and the news is really not the best thing. It's kind of a double-edged sword, the news, because they always report on the worst stuff they can and always twist it and make it sound worse than what it is. But it's also something we are all glued to. We need to know what's going on, because that's the best way to find out what's going on with what the government changes are and whatnot. So there's a double-edged sword there. The media always thrive on bad stuff. They love it. They absolutely love it. And that's why I'm not a big fan of the news media. It kind of sucks. And we usually don't have the TV on at home with the news, but lately we have a little bit. So I just don't want my kids watching that kind of rubbish. It just freaks everyone out. And that's what I want to talk about. A lot of people have been freaking out and they've been buying all the toilet paper, and it leaves you and me and most of the rest of us to wipe our asses with serviettes and all kinds of other creative things. And lately all the food's been going, so we've been getting creative with meals. Well, slowly, we will be getting a lot more creative with meals, because we can't get mince, there's so many things we just can't get at the moment. And things could get worse, things could get better. But I'll tell you what, the people freaking out and the situation that's caused by the virus is worse than the virus itself. If you are under 60 years old, and this is going by all the reports that I've sort of researched and all the stats and everything from the China, from the whole world, if you are under 60 years old, you are far better off than if you're over 60 years old. So if you're over 60, that's where you have to sort of worry, because you are in that red zone. That's, you know, it's a possibility that you could get severe illness. For anyone under 60, what are you worried about? And those are the people that are causing most of the panic, from your 20s to your 40s, from an observation. It's just people freaking out, buying all this stuff, and then what happens is the pensioners and the elderly come in later and there's nothing for them. So you're actually making it worse for the most vulnerable. We need to just chill out and just relax and just see this thing through. One thing I do want to bring up is, for those who are actually on their way out now to go somewhere, if you've got a big trip somewhere, your actual permit may not be valid anymore, and you probably would have got an email by now from the people that issued you the permit to, say, for instance, Canning Stock Road, which is closed anyway, but Ambler Highway, all these remote places that go through communities, they should all be cancelled, because what the government is trying to prevent us from doing is spreading the disease to the indigenous communities. Because if we do that, it could be a repeat of what happened when the Spanish flu came out in 1918, 1919. Half the indigenous population got wiped out because of the Spanish flu, and because of the government didn't take it seriously and basically didn't give a toss about the traditional owners of the country. Thankfully they do now, so they are doing what they can to notify us, to prevent us from going out and contacting the indigenous communities, because all we are going to do if we do that is put them all at risk, and we don't want to do that. So stay away from indigenous communities, and if your trip happens to go past a place or, well, near a place, just stay out of it. And if that was an intended fuel stop, because a lot of indigenous communities are also fuel stops for us travellers, you are now going to need to either divert your trip, change it up, or you're going to have enough fuel to get past that point. And I would highly suggest you just divert. Now, everything in this video is just my opinions and just, you know, my general advice, but you should consider that yourself and make it your own decision. Okay, I'm not responsible for your choices during this time, and things are changing all the time. But with some of this stuff, hopefully it can help you out there. And let's go to food and drink, and your essentials for camping, like your toilet paper and all that stuff. Now, when it comes to toilet paper, you're going to have to take the stuff you got at home, or you're going to have to be creative with napkins, or use a bloody leaf out in the bush if you want to go full on bush style. When it comes to food, we need to be mindful that we are all in this together. We're all in this crappy situation together. This coronavirus is not discriminating anyone. We're all in the same crap, right? We're all in the same inconvenience. So when you do go shopping, don't go shopping 2 days before your trip and expect to get everything you need for your week trip, 2 week, whatever, however long you're going for. And at this stage of the whole infection of the coronavirus, you should not be bulk buying stuff, because what you're doing is you're adding to the problem that all these other crazies are doing when they're panicking, and there's less food for everyone else. So we're all in this together. So if you are going to stockpile for your trip, just buy trickle buy. That's what I'm calling it. I'm calling it trickle buy. And I've been trickle buying for the last week. So I'll go to the shop, I'll buy dinner for that night, and then I'll get something here and something there. I'm not buying 5 cans of this, I'm buying 1 can of that, 1 can of this, 1 can of that, and mince and some sausages. And then I'll use the mince at home and put the sausages away. I now have enough food for a week-long trip at home, and I'm going to leave it like that. I'm not going to buy more than what I need, because it's going to inconvenience everyone else. But if you trickle buy, it shouldn't be a problem. But if you bulk buy, don't bulk buy. Just being an arsehole if you do that. And if you are going full remote camping, I'm talking like proper remote camping, it may not be a good idea at this point in time. Maybe stick a bit closer to, where you can help yourself out. If you get in trouble, you need to be more self-sufficient now, because if this virus gets really bad and all the hospitals are overrun and all the emergency services are overrun, they don't want to be worrying about some family out in the middle of the desert. Okay, they got much bigger things to worry about. So you need to be bloody well self-sufficient. If you are going to risk the biscuit and do a big trip like that, you need to be aware that if you do break down, you could be there for quite some time. You need to have sufficient stuff with you. You need to be self-sufficient. You need to have more food than what you need. You need more water than what you need. And you need to know what you are doing as well. So take extra care if you're going full remote. And I probably just wouldn't recommend doing that unless you know what you're doing. Imagine being responsible for a whole family that gets out there. You ring on a sat phone. Emergency services are tied up. Look at Italy at this stage. They're turning away people because they don't have the capacity. So some people are actually going home and possibly riding this serious illness on their own. I'm talking about the elderly here. So bear that in mind. If things really hit the fan, you're not going to want to be stuck out in the middle of nowhere, because it could be a long time, if at all you get rescued. Just saying. And lastly but not least, take it easy, guys. Don't panic. Just ride it out. We'll all get through this together. I think the worst part is going to be on the other side. Think about all the tourism companies, all those businesses. Those are the people that are going to be affected by it later. So the virus is a virus. We can all get through this. The elderly are most at risk. The rest of the population are pretty safe. Take care, guys. Take it easy, and I'll see you on the next video. I will try and do some more content for you guys, especially for our European audience who are all in lockdown. So cheers, guys. Take it easy. Be safe.